Hi everyone, how are you? It's Casey. Welcome to this week's video. This video was inspired by a few people who have messaged me on several different platforms. Some of the messages have been kind of like warnings about what's going on in our community. Others have been sort of asking for my response. So I really haven't been individually responding to anyone. So I thought I would make a video, and instead of having you look at me talking the whole time, I'm going to move the camera and we're going to work on the doll that I'm currently sanding and working on. She's got quite a big open mouth. So I'm at the phase of the doll where I'm super nervous that it's not going well. But I have faith that she will look good when I'm done. So before I turn the camera around and we work on the doll, I just want, for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, YouTube and Google recently were fined by the government because of the way they were advertising to children on YouTube. So a lot of times when something like this happens in the community, people understandably get really upset and fearful, and rumors start going around of what's going to happen. And I personally don't like to have strong reactions until I read and understand what's happening. So I would highly recommend that you watch YouTube's video explaining what's going on, and not necessarily watching creator videos like this one to get all your information. So check out the YouTube video. If I can find the link, I'll put it below. I watched it a couple days ago. You also can read the FTC ruling, and I'll see if I can put that link below too. So after looking at what YouTube said and reading the ruling, I'm going to explain to you why I am not super worried about what's going on. And before I do that, I just want to acknowledge that there are going to be a lot of people that don't agree with me. You might be one of them, and that's perfectly fine. I'm going to be talking about it from my personal perspective on how I feel about my channel and what could potentially happen to my channel. So I don't want anyone to feel like I'm not taking it seriously or not acknowledging that my situation is not the same as other people's situation, and it might be more harmful for other people. So I just want to put that out there. This is my channel, my opinion of how it's going to affect me. And so check out those official links and information about it. But the overview of what's going on is when you are viewing videos on YouTube, there are marketing and advertisers harvesting sort of your information for the purpose of putting ads in front of you that you would be interested in. And it is illegal to do that to children without parental consent. And YouTube was being kind of tricky about getting away with doing it, but it was against the law. And they were fined for it, which is the result of the changes that are happening now on YouTube. So that's kind of the gist of it. So I'm going to turn the camera around now. I'm going to work on the doll while I tell you why I'm not super worried about what's happening. Okay, so I apologize that I have to have the light on, and there might be not the best lighting in this video, but otherwise I can't really see what I'm doing anymore on dolls. So this doll, I'll tell you just a little bit about her. I'm doing quite a large open mouth. I'm hoping to do top teeth, bottom teeth, and a tongue. So we'll see. I'm probably about halfway through the carving process, and right now I've done most of the real plastic removal. I need to smooth out the inside of the mouth, plumpen up the lips a little bit, and work on the nose. So that's kind of where normally when I carve, I sort of carve all over the place. So I'm going to kind of just do my process while I talk to you about these changes. Okay, so why I'm not super concerned about what's happening with this new ruling. And when I say new, the law itself is not new from what I understand. It's just that YouTube wasn't following it. So these are not YouTube policies necessarily. This is a law that is now affecting YouTube policies. So I've seen petitions going around and anger with YouTube, but it doesn't seem like anyone's acknowledging the fact that it's not YouTube's fault, if you want to say it that way. They were not following a law. So my thought is, if anybody wants to actually change what's happening, it would be at a legislative level, not petitioning YouTube. So, but the main reason that I'm not worried at this point is because my channel only recently started making money. I am receiving my second payout this month for my channel, which is great, but I'm not supporting myself on my YouTube channel. In fact, the income that I'm making purely from advertising on YouTube isn't what I would be concerned so much to lose, but more the traffic that it drives to my shop, because I get a lot of sales from folks watching my YouTube channels or watching my YouTube channel and coming to my shop. So it is important to me as a marketing tool, as well as a potential source of revenue as it grows. So I do want to acknowledge that there are folks that are worried about what's happening, and the reason they're more worried maybe about it than I am is because they are living on their income from YouTube. It's paying their rent or their food or whatever. So I do acknowledge that basically it's like losing a job or getting laid off. It's scary and uncertain. So I do acknowledge that the folks that are facing potentially that, it could be much more stressful for them. So that's the first reason. The second reason I'm not so worried about it is because the changes on YouTube now, basically what's happened is they're requiring channels to mark if their channel is intended for children or not. So the big reason why this is coming up in the doll community more than other communities is because we consider our channels, most of us in doll customizing consider our channels as targeted for adults, not children. But as probably most of you know, the general public sees dolls and toys as children's items, regardless of who you intend them to be for. So there is talk that it doesn't matter how you mark your channel, it's going to be considered children's. And the reason that's important is because part of the changes is that YouTube can no longer run targeted ads to children. That's what the ruling was about. From what I understand, it doesn't mean you can't monetize your videos. You just could lose revenue because the ads will not be targeted to child viewers. So if you do have children as a large viewership on your channel, they won't be getting targeted ads. And targeted ads typically are going to be more successful, be clicked on more, and make more money. I haven't seen anywhere that says you cannot monetize your video, even if it's technically for children. It just means it can't have targeted ads. But regardless, if you're a doll customizer and your channel is not intended for children and you mark it as such, YouTube has said that they are counting on channels to make that decision. The only time they're going to interfere with your decision is if they find that your channel truly is for children and you're marking it as not. And so I kind of thought about this a little bit, and I'm assuming the way that they're going to do that is by looking to see who visits your channel. So you can go in your stats, and I'm going to see if I can show you where. You can go into the stats of your channel and see the age of your viewers. So this long-winded explanation is the reason why I'm also not worried so much about my channel. Because when I go to my stats, there are no children visiting my channel. 0. No children in the entire year 2009 have visited my channel. So I suspect what YouTube is going to do is rely on you to mark your channel, and the only ones they're going to check are people who say, my channel's not for children, but YouTube can see that children visit your channel. So I would recommend checking that out. If you do have a large viewership of children, well, then you're kind of a children's channel. Whether you want to be or not, that's who is responding to your videos. And if that's the case for you, then I would either change your channel so that, if you don't want it to be a children's channel, there's something there you might be able to change. Or you're going to have to just go with it and just consider yourself a children's channel. That would be my reasoning. But so as I said, mine does not have any children viewing. So I've marked my channel as for adults, and I have strong suspicion it will stay that way. So that's the other reason why I'm not worried about it. And then the third one is probably going to be sort of a sensitive topic. I don't know how much I've talked about my professional life on this channel, but I work at a small business development center, and I help advise businesses. I teach marketing classes. I actually teach a YouTube class. So I'm in the professional business world, especially in the advising part of it. And I can tell you that when you talk to a business advisor who is outside of your business, there's not so much passion. There is a cold feeling of just, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I think sometimes when it's our business, we are really passionate about it, and we can get really upset and worried and fearful, and it's kind of important to take a step back and evaluate on a level that's a little more calculated. So I'd highly recommend, if YouTube is your business and you're worried about this, to get a business advisor. It's free through your local SBDC, so I've checked that out. But that's why I want to say, things change and we have to adapt to them. It's, as I said, like, people get laid off every day, and so if this ends up affecting your income, we have to find other ways, and there are other ways to make money off of videos. There are other platforms. There's Patreon. There's all kinds of ways of doing it. So I think shifting, if this is going to affect your income, shifting to another platform or another way of running your channel so that you comply is the way to go. I don't think having a doomsday attitude is going to be helpful. At least that's how I feel. And I'm sorry if that is insensitive. The other thing that I feel about that. And so I know, again, this is going to probably rub some people the wrong way, but I think this law is important, and the real point here is protecting children online. And I have a 4-year-old son, and he watches YouTube, and I like the changes that YouTube is making for children. I like that they're disabling comments. I know that comments are super important to some makers, and I do appreciate some of my comments that I can answer, but I wouldn't mind if they weren't there. I mean, for me, I don't get a lot of comments, so it's easy to respond to them, but I watch other channels that have thousands of comments, and I sort of feel like, what's the point of them? Because there's no way that people can sit and respond to all those comments. It would take all day. But if that's how you interact with your community, I can see why that would feel threatening. But I personally wish YouTube would just get rid of comments altogether on everybody's channel. But they've done that for children's channels, and I like it. I think that it's a good idea for kids. So I'm supportive of this law, and I think it's important to protect children online, and my kid is one of them. So yes, I agree parents should also be more involved in watching what their children, are doing on the internet, but the comments section of YouTube, in my opinion, has always been somewhat of a cesspool. So anyway, I don't want to get too far into that, but like I said, to me this law is important, so I support it, and if that means that I have to adapt the way that I do things, then that's what's going to happen, because nothing stays the same, and we have to, as a business, adapt to what's going on. So anyway, I don't want to leave it on a negative note, but that's sort of the gist of my opinion. The other thing to remember is most of this is not going into effect until January, so I think it's a little bit jumping the gun to be freaking out about it right now. I think some channels have started to see some of the effects, but again, I haven't seen anything, because I don't believe that YouTube is going to trigger my channel as a children's channel. So I'm hoping I'm just not going to see much change, and my channel is going to continue to grow and make money as it is. And if not, then I will look for another place to do that. So that's my response, and feel free to comment if you want to join the conversation. Otherwise, follow me on Facebook, check out my shop if you want. And thanks as always so much for watching. We'll see you all again next week. Bye.